Okay, so today we're going to be learning about participles. So, question, what is a participle? So a participle is a verbal adjective. Now, what does that mean? It means that it's kind of like a verb and it's kind of like an adjective. So it's a word that describes a noun, like an adjective, but it also expresses an action, like a verb. So the participle will have two attributes of a verb, tense and voice. This is because it expresses an action, like verb. So voice. There are two voices participles can have. So the active participles indicate that the noun being described is doing the action, and the passive participles indicate that the noun being described is receiving the action. So what does this mean? So here's some examples. So the loving sister picked flowers for her mother. This is active because she is doing the action. She is picking the flowers for her mother. That's active. She's doing it, so the participle is active. Passive. So the loved mother was given flowers. This is passive because the mother isn't doing anything. She's being given the flowers. She's receiving the flowers. She's receiving the action of the flowers being given to her. So that's basically what that means. So now how do we form these? This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So what we're going to do is there aren't any, it's going to look similar to your conjugation chart, except instead of having, normally right here we would have present, perfect, and future. Normally we would have present, imperfect, and future, and then we would have the three other, that's perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. We can only do these in three. And we can't even get all six of them. Passive, the passive present, and the active perfect are blacked out because they simply just don't exist. So there are only four. So there are the three tenses, the present and the perfect and the future, and then the active and the passive. So first, the present active is going to be the second principal part plus NS and TIS. And then the passive is going to be the fourth principal part plus us, The active future is the fourth principal part plus then us, And the passive future, also known as the gerundive, is the second principal part plus ndus, ndu. So let's try doing this with a word. Okay. So with a word. So we're going to do with amo, amare, amavi, amatus. So here you're going to take the second principal part and take off the re, just like we do when we're conjugating, or, we always do that. And you're going to add the ns and the ntis. And then you're going to take, for this one, you're going to do, take the fourth principal part, amatus, and you're going to keep the us. And then you're going to add a and because genders. So now amaturus, amatura, amaturum. This is the fourth principal part. Then you added this UR right here. You added that UR and in between the endings and the fourth principal part. And then to form the passive future, also known as the gerundive, you're going to take the second principal part and you're just going to add or take off the re first. And then you're going to add indus, nda, ndu. So that is how they're formed. And now, how do we translate them? How are these even useful? So, when we translate, when we translate, when we translate, it's going to translate as loving, so blank ing. And then passive is going to be having been loved, so, or having been blanked if it was a different verb, having been seen, having been captured, having been, And then about to love and about to be loved. So you just insert the verb. Of course, so these are doing and these are receiving the action. So now let's practice. Visus is going to be the perfect passive And so it would translate as having been seen or just seen. You don't have to have the having been part. It's just actually seen, but you can add the having been part, just so you know. So now, number 2, Laudans. So you can recognize this because it has the NS, which is the present active. So that would translate to be praising, loud, because that's what the word means. Captors, this, because it has the UR, it's future active, and so it would translate to about to capture. Audiendus is the future passive. And, oh, you can remember this because the ND, if you remember that is the gerundive, gerund, you know, like that. It kind of like has that sound. And so that would translate to about to be heard. So that is it for today for our participle lesson. Thank you very much. Have a good day.